One of the most dominant women's 100-meter races of the modern era shocked the athletics world as Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce completely took over the track against a stacked international field. In this video, we break down how the Jamaican sprint legend destroyed the competition at the London Anniversary Games and why Dina Asher-Smith simply had no answer for her incredible speed. From the explosive start to the flawless acceleration phase, this race showed exactly why Fraser-Pryce became one of the greatest sprinters in history. We will analyze every important moment of the final, including reaction times, top speed mechanics, race execution, and the technical differences that separated Fraser-Pryce from the rest of the field. This was not just a victory, it was a masterclass in sprinting dominance.
100 outdoors, 200 outdoors, and then there she is smiling, and why shouldn't she be smiling? The double Olympic champion from 2008-2012, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Lots of Jamaican support, of course, in this city, and have come out to cheer their hero, one of their heroes. So Dina Asher-Smith, the European champion. British crowd hoping that she can lift herself to challenge Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce here. Ahure, the world indoor champion from 2018 at 60 meters, also of the Ivory Coast. And then the former Commonwealth champion at this distance, Blessing Okagbare from Nigeria in lane 9, who has shocked a couple of the fields earlier on in the season, but I suspect the way Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is going today, that won't happen. So how quick do we think Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce can go here? What can Dina Asher-Smith do? Can she put her under pressure? Can she hang on to her? Can she herself find a fast time? 10:91 for Dina Asher-Smith in qualifying, 10:95 for Fraser-Pryce, who, to be fair, was easing through. This is the final event of what's been an immense weekend of great performances, where we have another one here to finish off. Thousandths of a second, a false start for the world champion of 200 meters. So now we're down to 8 women. Lucan Kemper, Michelle Lee Aye in 2, then 3 now empty. Then we've got Tatiana Pinto, Marie-Jose Talu, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, and Dina Asher-Smith in lanes 6 and 7, Muriel Ahure in 8, and Blessing Okagbare in 9. Dina Asher-Smith takes second spot. She makes it look so easy. I said she was flowing. That's what it is like. It's almost poetry in motion, watching her. A good start, a great start, and then after that she just keeps going away. It's been taken up by a slight notch to 10:78. Dina Asher-Smith 10:92 in second place. Nothing she could do about Fraser-Pryce. She gets such a good start, and then she just runs faster. You can't say anything else. She just runs faster than everybody else.
Steve, it's amazing. At the moment, in Shelly-Ann's racing, I see no weakness. She reacts to the gun very well. Then she gets out the block solid, very strong. Then she has incredible pickup, good knee lift all the way through, and she doesn't seem to fade. She doesn't get tight. So this is going to be a person that's going to be so difficult to beat. Adding to that, she has a wealth of experience in taking these titles. So only person that's come close when she's running like this is another Olympic champion, Elaine Thompson, who only just beat her by a fraction, thousandths, at those Jamaican championships. Watch this again here. There's nothing really Dina can do. She can't get close to her in the first 20 meters, and if you can't get close to her then and put her under any sort of pressure, you've got no chance of beating her. She's still moving away from the field, pumping hard, focused all the way. And when you're that determined as a champion, trust me, it's tough, so tough for all your opponents. Here's Dina, out the blocks well. Again, she didn't do really anything that wrong. She was just beaten by a quality athlete who just seems to be on the top of her game. All that Dina can really do is just try and hang on.
At the London Anniversary Games, the women's 100 meters became a perfect example of what happens when one of the greatest sprinters in history reaches peak form. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce did not simply win the race against Dina Asher-Smith and an elite international field. She completely controlled every phase of the event, from the first reaction to the final meters, showing once again why so many athletes struggled to challenge her during her best years. Before the race even started, attention was already focused on Fraser-Pryce. The atmosphere inside the stadium made it obvious that the crowd expected something special. Dina Asher-Smith entered the race as the European champion and one of the few athletes capable of producing sub-11-second performances consistently. But even with home crowd support, there was a feeling that she would need the race of her life to seriously pressure the Jamaican star. The field itself was extremely strong. Marie-Josée Talou brought world-level consistency and medal experience. Blessing Okagbari had already produced major surprises earlier in the season. Daphne Shippers was already a world champion over 200 meters. Yet despite all that talent on the track, the race quickly became centered around one athlete. The most important moment came in the first seconds after the gun. Fraser-Pryce's reaction was nearly flawless. In women's sprinting, the opening 20 meters often decide whether an athlete can even remain in contention, and this is where the Jamaican immediately separated herself from the rest of the field. Her block clearance was explosive, but also technically clean. There was no wasted movement, no unnecessary tension, and no visible hesitation. That acceleration phase completely changed the race. Dina Asher-Smith actually produced a strong start herself. In many races, her opening would have been enough to place her in control. But Fraser-Pryce's ability to combine reaction speed with violent acceleration made the difference obvious almost instantly. By the time the athletes approached 30 meters, Fraser-Pryce already had clear daylight between herself and the rest of the field. What made the performance even more impressive was how relaxed she looked while running 10.78 seconds. Many sprinters tighten under maximum speed, especially in major races against elite competition. Fraser-Pryce looked smooth from start to finish. Her stride frequency remained incredibly high, her knee lift stayed aggressive, and her posture never collapsed. The commentators described it almost as poetry in motion because the race looked effortless despite the brutal speed. Technically, this race highlighted why Fraser-Pryce became one of the most difficult sprinters to defeat in modern athletics history. Her drive phase was compact and powerful. She stayed low just long enough to maximize force production before transitioning upright at exactly the right moment. Once upright, her cadence became overwhelming. Athletes around her were still trying to build momentum while she was already operating at top velocity. That is what separated her from Dina Asher-Smith in this final. Asher-Smith ran 10.92 seconds, which is still an excellent performance at the international level. In many Diamond League races, that time could win comfortably. But against Fraser-Pryce at full rhythm, it was not enough. The British sprinter did not make major mistakes. Her mechanics remained solid, and her transition phase looked controlled. The real problem was that Fraser-Pryce removed any opportunity for psychological pressure. Once the Jamaican gained the lead early, she never allowed the gap to close even slightly. This is an important detail in sprinting. Elite races are not only physical battles, they are psychological contests. When an athlete sees Fraser-Pryce already ahead after 20 meters, panic often starts to appear subconsciously. Sprinters begin pressing harder, forcing stride length or losing relaxation. Fraser-Pryce understood this dynamic perfectly throughout her career. Her starts did not just create physical advantages. They mentally broke opponents before the race reached maximum speed. Another major factor was experience. Fraser-Pryce entered this race already as a multiple Olympic champion and one of the most decorated sprinters ever. Pressure situations no longer affected her execution. Younger athletes often struggle with maintaining relaxation in major finals, but Fraser-Pryce competed with complete confidence. Every movement looked rehearsed through years of championship racing. The race also demonstrated her extraordinary longevity. At an age where many sprinters begin declining physically, Fraser-Pryce was still producing world-class times and dominating elite competitors. Even more remarkable was the fact that she achieved this after motherhood. Her comeback completely changed conversations around female athletes returning after pregnancy. Instead of simply returning to competition, she returned stronger and continued winning against the best sprinters in the world. That legacy extends beyond medals and times. Fraser-Pryce became proof that explosive sprinting success could coexist with longevity, discipline, and adaptability. Her ability to evolve technically while maintaining raw speed allowed her to remain competitive across multiple Olympic cycles. Few sprinters in history have managed to stay at the top for such a long period while still looking physically dominant against younger rivals. For Dina Asher-Smith, this race also carried important meaning despite the defeat. Running 10.92 against a prime Fraser-Pryce showed that she belonged among the world elite. The British sprinter continued establishing herself as one of Europe's most dangerous sprint talents, and races like this pushed her development further. Sometimes, competing against greatness reveals the true level required to become a global champion. In the end, the London Anniversary Games final was more than just another 100-meter race. It became a demonstration of complete sprint mastery. Fraser-Pryce controlled the start, acceleration, transition, and finish with almost no visible weakness. Against a stacked international field, she looked untouchable. That is why performances like this remain unforgettable in women's sprinting history. Not because she simply won, but because she made world-class athletes look ordinary while running one of the cleanest races of her career.